City. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. I want you to hear Benjamin Netanyahu talk about what's going on in Iraq. Of course, he's been critical of American foreign policy for quite some time as it relates to Iran and, of course, as it relates to Israel, although he's not as vocal about that. But we know what he has said behind the scenes and when he gets back home to his own country. And we know some of the things he said to Barack Obama while sitting across from him. Anyway, listen to this. Watch this.
What is, I think, being discussed in the case of Iran by the international community is that you remove most of the sanctions and Iran gets to keep most of the capabilities, most of the stockpiles, most of the ability to manufacture the means to make nuclear weapons. That's a terrible mistake. I hope it doesn't come to pass because I think this would change history. It would be a monumental mistake in the context of the world at large and the Middle East as it is today. This would be a tragic, tragic outcome.
And I'm particularly interested in the fact that, I mean, this was a broad interview, but that he's not losing sight of the fact that Iran still represents the greatest threat to Israel and probably to the West, notwithstanding what's going on with ISIS, notwithstanding ISIS is, threatening now Jordan and saying they're going to march towards Israel. Israel could handle ISIS, okay? I mean, I don't know that they have the intestinal fortitude to do it and wipe them out. They certainly could. If it comes to keeping them from coming into Israel, I'm sure they certainly will. But Iran is another story. A nuclear Iran is a completely different story. Here's more from the Prime Minister.
I think you can't have it both ways. You can't talk about peace with Israel and be in a unity government with Hamas that kidnaps Israeli teenagers and calls for Israel's destruction. You can have one or the other, but not both. I hope President Abbas chooses the right thing.
And of course, he's talking about the Hamas joining a unity government with the Palestinian Authority, and the United States saying, hey, we'll still fund you. Hey, we'll still talk to you. And now, of course, that government has kidnapped 3 Israelis, 1 American girl included, and they have them. And Netanyahu is rightfully upset that the United States decided to announce early on that they will back a government with money as well that includes Hamas, which we consider, the U.S. considers to be a terrorist organization. Next.
You look at what's happening in the Middle East, and I think most Americans understand this. They see this enormous area riveted by religious hatred, by savagery of unimaginable proportions. Then you come to Israel and you see the one democracy that upholds basic human rights, that guards the rights of all minorities, that protects Christians. Christians are persecuted throughout the Middle East. So most Americans understand that Israel is a beacon of civilization and moderation. I would suggest to this Presbyterian organizations to fly to the Middle East, come and see Israel for the embattled democracy that it is, and then take a bus tour. Go to Libya, go to Syria, go to Iraq, and see the difference. And I would give them 2 pieces of advice. One is make sure it's an armor-plated bus, and second, don't say that you're Christians.
Talking about the Presbyterian divestment, which is outrageous. We'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show, but first, here's Dr. Chauncey Crandall.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simple